Welcome to Trading Lounge and the commodities. We'll do the crypto, dollar bonds and yields, gold and silver, and base metals and energy. So with the Bitcoin here, it's pretty simple. We've got wave 3 here with an A and a B and a C wave here, and then we've got 5 waves here. Now these 5 waves here could be counted differently. We could put this over to here, and we could put another move down here for this. But the important takeaway here is that whichever way you want to bake this cake here, you're still getting 5 waves. So we'll have another move to the upside here as wave 3, 4 and 5. So we're still on that track. It's just don't know if I'm Arthur or Martha on which particular top to put this on here, but let's just go in and have a closer look at this trend going up here on the intraday there. So picking it up from wave 4 here and just squeezing it all in here, we've got minute 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the 3rd wave, the 4th wave here, and then the 5th wave up here. So it would kind of make sense to have some sort of ABC pattern here. Now it may not be like that. We could also probably do down here, we could probably even do something like this and have it a bit like this, you know how wave 2s are kind of sharpish, you know, we get these sort of sharp wave 2s here, so that could possibly play out like this here as well, in this area here. Now there is the case that if we do put wave 1 over here, we could look at this as the A wave here, the B wave here, and then the C wave down here has got to come down a bit further. So there's a couple of different ways to look at this, but we'll keep a bit of an eye on it, because if I look at this particular top here and I take the crypto index, which is the top 10 in this particular case, there's lots of different indexes, and this is obviously dominated by Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other ones, so not sure exactly what's in this one by the by, but there's a very good case here to have this as the A wave here, the ABC for the B wave here, and then the C wave to come down here. So yeah, but I also understand too that, you know, we could probably put this here and, you know, look at this as wave 1 and back for wave 2 here on the 61.8% and move up from that point. Whichever happens, you know, the next trade would come from the top here, at least on the B wave here for that. That's the crypto index as such. And so that's Bitcoin here. So one way or another, you just basically buy and hold. It's not a big drama, but it would be nice to nail it down. Now we have Ethereum here, and picking it up from this wave 4 low here, and we can count this up as 1 here, and then an A and a B and a C wave down here. So it makes a nice wave 2. It's just that I don't have 5 waves up here. I just have basically 3 waves up here. So I've got this 5 nice move here, and we're at the 61.8%. So we could have this here as 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2, and to pull down here. So basically the A wave, the B wave and the C wave here. So it's either that or we put the B wave over here. Either way, I mean, the good news here though is that all you need to do is go long at that point here, if that's going to go straight up there. And if it does drop here, then we'll pick it up over here on the first impulse wave to the upside. So we'll see. It's possible to have this still building here, or we'll put this over here. It doesn't really matter at this point. Still needs to come down a little bit, so it could come down and finish this off here a little bit. So there's 2 ways to look at that. And then if we look at Solana, there's no sort of real change here either, but I do like the 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, ABC for the 4th, and then up for the 5th here. Now once again here, I know this is a little bit dodgy, but it does sort of fit 5 waves to this point. I have no idea what this is here. I mean, it looks like an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here, and we can go up, you know, we can go up from that point. But we need to be a little bit careful, because we might just go up and come back down as a, you know, another ABC over here sort of thing. So an A wave down, a B wave here, and a C wave here, and then we've got wave 2, and then we can go up here. Do you know what I mean? But either way, like I said, the important takeaway here is we've got 5 waves to this point. Now you could get 5 waves to this point here, so 5 waves to this point. We could call this wave 1 here, because that way would put this wave 2 over to here and look at this as an A and a B and a C wave. And there's a good case for that too, because when you just sort of pull this out here, we've got this first move up here, and then we could look at this as some sort of 1-2 in here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to here, and then 5 waves down here. So almost like a running flat here. But we don't really see those a lot, that sort of behavior, you know. So there's a couple of different ways to look at everything at this particular point. But the good news is it's not like they're in opposite directions. They're all pointing high, and all you need to do is own some of this crypto. And then there's also the case too that if I can just go, this is in our chat lounge here in the crypto section, and Samny's doing a lot of intraday work in here. So this is Dodgy Doge, and I mean, this here could also be viewed as wave 1 here, by the way, with an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and have one, you know, have a little bit more down before pushing up here as well. It could come all the way down here. Always good to give the bad news so you can accommodate it and not cry later so loudly, or at least in public. And the other one over here is that's also another count for Doge. I just sort of having a look here. We had ADA here, this one, yeah, Cardona here. So I'll just sort of put that in the frame there a little bit. So we've got wave 1 here and wave 2 here. In this case, wave 1 and 2 pulling up here. I kind of like this, but yeah, all you need to do is go along above the top here, you know. So what I am saying is I'm saying that some of these little coins, you know, are shaping up from this wave 2 pushing up into wave 3. So I think they're kind of one of the best sort of opportunities around the place at the moment, you know. Okay, so that's that really, and we just want to have a look at the dollar bonds and yields. So in this case here, this is the TLT bonds here, and as you know, one of the main points here is that on the daily chart here, we've got the A wave up here, and we've got this B wave here, which is this here is a corrective pattern. So we should take out the top there. So we've been looking at counting this in different ways, and it can be counted in different ways. We could also put wave 1 up here. From here, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I could go 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So there's a couple of different ways to look at this. So I'm just sort of mulling it over, thinking about it. And anyway, we're waiting for this wave 1 and wave 2 to pull back here. So while this is pushing up here, we'll see the 10-year, you know, the front end of the curve, the push to the downside, and take the dollar with it, and also take oil with it as well. And now that we talk about commodities, so this is all on track here for pushing higher for the bonds. So what I would like to do is just go over to here, grab this chart here. It's the same thing as the treasuries here, and so yeah, in this case I've got the A, the B, the 1, the 2, the 1, the 2 here, and pushing up here. Now all this is important for gold, of course. You know, while the bonds are pushing up, gold will go with it, and yields will go down, all those sort of things. So we've got this pushing up here in the right way. Everything's going according to plan, and we'll see the 10-year yields here pushing down. And one of the good things here, I've had this sort of little ABC thing here, which I'm going to remove at the moment, because I wanted to basically take out this low here, which it basically has done now. So that kind of cements it to go further down now. So we'll get this is probably a little 5-wave move here. So it's basically moving lower at this stage. So that's good. So we should see the currency move down here. This will also give a bit of respite for some of the commodities as well. Not just yet, but soonish. So we could expect some of the commodities to, that are traded in dollars to bounce at that point. So, but yeah, yields down, and then that will bring us to the DXY here, which we were basically, once again too, this, as I've mentioned before, this can be bullish in terms of having an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. So what we wanted to do here is we wanted to we wanted to just get rid of that. We wanted to break this low down here, this low here. And do I have my other dollar chart somewhere around? I don't know where it is, it doesn't really matter at this point. So what I was looking for was a little ABC for wave 2 here. So I don't know if that's finished just yet, but it's good that that little bar here is on higher volume than the previous bar. So look, there may be another little flick up here. I haven't got my intraday thing here, but basically what we're looking at to confirm things is to take this low out here. This low, after that first 5 waves up here, that low here, once that's been breached, then we can say that any bullish move for the for this particular market here, as an A and a B and a C here, would be negated at that point. Now, it also doesn't mean that this particular move here is well, this is a bit about face actually, but down for 1 here, back for 2 here, down for 1, back for 2, down for 3, 4, 5. It doesn't necessarily have to go like that. You know, we could also play this out in a more complicated triangle. But what it does do, if it breaks this low here, now, if it breaks that, it basically destroys it from any sort of big pump to the upside. Okay, so that's really what we're looking for. So the further this drops down here, then the better that we'll see support in the commodity markets. So speaking of the commodities, let's can we go over to gold here? So with gold here, we're looking at let's moved away a bit. We have that up there. I'll just move this up here, move that up there. So we're looking at this here, this trend in gold here on the daily chart with wave 3 and 4 here, and then wave 1 and 2 here as an ABC pattern, and then going up for 3, 4, 5, while the dollar comes down and the yields go down and the bonds go up, and all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, but I do understand too that that we could have this over here. So if I just remove this here and put wave 5 top in here, have wave 5 top, that would be, that would just be correct as well, so, but I've been looking at this as an ABC pattern, and the more this push, I want to go to my intraday charts now too, not that I've updated it, but this one here. So basically this is the same thing here with wave 1 and ABC for wave 2 here. So it is interesting that we have been moving up here. And of course, one of the things that we need to sort of work out, we don't need that there now. One of the things that we could do, or that we could sort of always do, is we look from the last top to the bottom here, because if this was going to be more bearish to the downside here, then it would have failed at this point here, which is the pocket, the 62 to 65% that I use a lot, and then you'd always gravitate over to the closest largest number. So it could have it could have dropped at that point, and then I would have been wrong here, and we would have looked at this top over here being wave 5 of 3, but it seems to have panned out okay-ish. So we're at this point here now. So I mean, it still doesn't really move it away. Do you know what I mean? Even if, let's just look at this in another way. Let me just remove that. So if we go back to the old count not the old count, the alternative count that I just mentioned, where we had 5 and 3 up there, right? So that means that this still could be a wave 4 here, because a wave 4, out of the dozen different types of patterns, it's okay to have the first leg down in 3 waves. It just means that we're in a triangle pattern for a wave 4, or a flat, or start getting into all the other zigzag patterns at that point. So what I'm trying to say is that if we look at this as an impulse wave to the upside and a 3-wave correction here, and then we look at this as 1 and 2, a little 3 there, and we'll look for a little 5 up here. Once we get that first high above the level there, then anything above that would be bullish at that point. So we could kind of anything above that, because otherwise this would be an ABC pattern here. But anything be higher than that, we could look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So this would be the long trade over here once we get that little 5 waves in here. So we'll keep an eye on that tomorrow and just let that develop, because we could get 3 waves from here and then come down again from this point, you know. We could have an A, B and C down to here for an a bigger picture, you know, because we'd be talking about intermediate wave 3 at that point. So we kind of got to get that 5 wave move to here and then go above it, and then I know that this carries more weight at that point. So a little bit of a squiggle and a wiggle, and the silver here. So last time we spoke, we were looking for wave 4 here and wave 5 here, and in this case here, it's really giving. I don't know if we talked about going long there, maybe not. So the main point here is that you can see this is really extending here now. From this point here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can see that we've got this as 5 waves. Maybe there's another little high there. Then we've also got this 1 and 2 here, so we'll see this one here, and then we got this one here, so that will be there, and then we got this one here as well, so that will be. So we can see that this is actually impulsing to the upside here. So maybe you've gone long over here, and even if you haven't gone long over here, or what I always encourage is to look for the first high above. This is group 2 here. So when we're reacting from a large number here, then we look to group 2, so that's number 8, 72 and 65 here, this lot here. So I can remove that. The 29 will play out, of course, as well. But this group 2 here is the support. So in a bit of a nutshell, what we should see here, if I can just get this here. We should see quite a nice run, actually, all the way up here somewhere. We should clear these tops. So that's pretty exciting. So if this is your thing, we should really need to have a look at getting into it, you know. But this was the best place to manage the risk and to get that move in there. Let me just think about this for a second. Yeah, it's going to sort of grind to the upside. We need to get the pullback at this point. So if you got in here, fantastic. You know, you'll need to keep the stop out of the way, because if we look at this as 5 waves up here, then we're going to get some sort of ABC pattern coming back over here. Now, how big that's going to be, I don't know. But this will be our next entry, because in a trend, this is the beginning, the building process. In the middle, where the strong bit is here, and then you got the end. You got the beginning, the middle, and the end. So you don't want to get caught going long in the end, because especially with leverage, because it you know, overnight financing charges you every single day. It's like compound interest, and as the price goes up, it'll be compounding at a higher price. And because there's wave 4s here, you'll be in here for longer. You know what I mean? So the cost of it and the emotional torment of it as well, being stuck in at that point, is not good. You could take a very small position. I'd probably go for stock, actually, if you got a silver stock, you know, Silver Lake or something. But keep the stop out of the way, because you've got to kind of come back for this here at some point, you know. If you want to get out, then the 29 is where it is. But I just see a much bigger trend here with all of this. This here is corrective. This pattern here is corrective. It's got overlapping wave structures, so it's not impulsive. So that means that we're going higher here. And we certainly look at number 4 up here after the $30 here. Okay, so I didn't really get to have a look at GDX, did I, either, in all of this? Would like to always look at that. Let me find it. Okay, so I've got it here. So we were looking at this being wave 1 up here with the A, B and C here for this. So we do have 5 waves up on this little move here. It's not the best, I grant, but this is corrective, but we could use it. I think we're good to go because, I mean, the other side to this from this B wave here is we have 1, 2, 3 down here, and then wave 4 and 5. But the thing is that it's moved up too high. So I think we're on the right track, but we do need to put in, you could put the stop here, but that's sort of putting a lot of risk on it because stuff, so we have to put it here. So that's now the risk. So we would have had under here, woulda, coulda, shoulda, and there, now we lift it up here. So it's not like we've halved the risk, which is really the job to do, but we've reduced it a little bit, so now it's just holding on and see how that plays out at this point. Just paint that picture there, but it gives us some sort of idea, gives us a little bit of hope. Okay, so that's the gold side of things. So I want to push that over to there, and don't need that, and we could also do the same here as well. Sorry for working on the hop, it's just that. Okay, so anyway, we've talked about the risk on that, so that's there. That's the bonds, and yeah, so now we come over to iron ore. Now I think this is China here. So I just want to have a look at the bigger picture here for this in terms of this is out of Singapore. This is seaborne iron ore, and the thing here is that this move up through here, as you can see here, is in 3 waves here. Now the whole thing here is corrective because we've got this move, we come from over here, we've got this move here in 3 waves, so we know that it's corrective. So iron ore, Australia, Brazil, Canada, South Africa, Central Africa now. Yeah, so it's just, I mean, it just looks like it. If this is 1 and 2 here, then we'll have 3, 4, and 5 down here. So this would probably be the timing of, China getting its act together again, and not that they've got their own high quality iron ore mine now in Central Africa. But I mean, India wants to take on that role of China, and China want to do what Japan did after they had cheap goods and sharpen up and bring in, high quality. It's always the same step, isn't it? So, but in the meantime, this is, iron ore is, well, it's pretty central to my country, Australia here. We've got copper and iron ore, but this is kind of also, I mean, they say Dr. Copper. I could probably do the same with this market as well, because the first thing they sort of do is do infrastructure, isn't it? But yeah, this is looking quite sort of bearish. So your Rios and BHPs of the world, they're going to be under a lot of pressure, put it that way. So you don't, and the trouble with, I mean, I like BHP, we've got some, but the thing is that, when you go into these, in the height of BHP's, and China thing, they were paying 12% dividends, and now they're down to 5%, and they'll probably drop down to 2% when they're not doing much work here, So yeah, quite sort of bearish at this point. So I think the banks are while this is going down, the banks will go up, you know. Okay, so just better make a note of that for myself to do a bit of rotation. Okay, so that's that. And this is the 1 and 2 here from that B wave up here, you know, and then down for 1, back for, so from wave 2 here down to, don't even have wave 3 there yet, but wave 3 down to here for this, and then 4, and then 5. So, and don't worry about any of these dates that I put out here or any of these prices. It's just to give you a bit of a mud map. But this wave 1 here and 2, this wave, the wave 3 here in blue here has got to be longer than wave 1 here. So that's the pathway for that at the moment. And then we come over to this is high grade copper here, and it's pretty much in the same sort of move as the LME as well, but yeah, so basically 1 and 2 here, and then looking down here for 1 and 2 here with 5 waves here. Now coming into the number 4 here, this medium level, we get, you know, I talked about getting a bounce, and I think we'll get some sort of bounce, how far it comes up, and then we'll come down to finish this off down here further in line with iron ore, basically, you know. Could it push up from here? Yes, it could, but it's a long based on an ABC pattern here, but it's a bit of a long shot. But I'm just going to leave it there, and we'll just keep talking about it, and you know, it'll take weeks and months to get through all of this. But anyway, it's trending down. There's a lot of pressure in this. There is support here at the moment, so we'll see it get a bit bouncy here. But yeah, nothing. You know, you can't buy any stock here based on this. On the copper market. And then nickel's much the same as well. So we've got this wave 3 here with an ABC for wave 4. I could view this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could go 1 and 2 here. I could also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I could bring it down further. It doesn't really matter. What's going to happen is there's going to be support around the old lows here, and there's going to be support at this big number here as well. And we just got to sort of watch it. So you know, we know the Indonesian nickel situation, and the Australian one, and the Americans, you know, want to get you know, supply chains going on with Australia, and you know, governments are changing and this and that. So, but anyway, there's nothing, you know, there's no buying of these mining stocks at this point in time. Uranium, obviously. You know, it's a bit of a mixed feeling about all of this, you know, but we've got 5 waves up here, so we could look at it as wave 1 or wave A, an A and a B and a C wave up here, and we come all the way down at that point. Otherwise, we look at this as 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here. So, you know, we know, you know, there's a lot of good things for this and a lot of bad things for this as well, and you know, regulation has been pretty tough on this particular product, and it stopped its development as a clean energy and all sorts of, there's a whole gamut of things happening here. But from my point of view is that yes, I could see that it's an ABC pattern and it could come down. I got that, got the message. I could also see it as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Now, if it's going to be 1 and 2 here, then I'll need to have an ABC correction. So we've got the first 5 waves here, then we've got a rally, and then we've got this move here. So this move that come down here is not finished yet. It's finding a little bit of support, but the 25 area here. So we'll just see how it plays out. It's going to be, you know, this is a weekly chart, and it's got, you know, a long way to go at the moment. I don't want to go in there on the intraday and all the rest of it at the moment for this. And before we go to the energy sector, I do just want to have a look at, we're going to have a closer look at lithium. Now today I was asked to have a look at two stocks. This one here is a weekly chart, and it's an Australian stock. It's MIN, Mineral Resources, and it's into lithium, and this is when it sort of started here. So it's a bit tricky. I don't know if this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. It probably is. Or this could, yeah, whatever. But the thing here is that the move up here, have I got this on log scale? Yes, so this chart here is on log scale, so just bear that in mind at the moment. But, you know, to me this is just another correction here for this market here. I can count this in two different ways here, but whichever way I count it, I'll still end up with wave 3 here. So I won't even go into the ways that it can be counted to the upside. So we're really looking at a wave 4 here. And because it's log scale, we're pretty close to where we need to be anyway. So we could look at this here as the previous wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, and we could view it as a triangle pattern. So if this is wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, then this wave 4 could pull back to this wave 4. Now there's a bottom, there's a top and a middle in here, and so on and so on. But it kind of comes out very closely to this $50 mark here, right? So not right on the nose. So one would have to say that there's going to be some good support at this $50 mark here. Okay, so that would be sort of it at this particular point in time. Now the question is that are we going to have this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 coming down here? Or can we put the low in here on this? So I'll need to do some work on this, and the way that I'll do the work on this is also have a look at you know, some of the other big markets here. These are $40 billion markets here, $30–40 billion. It's Peter Montes as well, and these are $140–150 billion stocks up here, these Chinese ones. So over the days and weeks ahead, we'll sort of pull these apart a little bit, and we'll talk about them a bit more and start, because they're quite deep into their corrections now, so we can have a bit of a chin wag about them. The other one is Pilbara Mines here as well. So this is all the data on this one here. So this is also log scale as well. So it's kind of interesting really, because you know, I don't think, there's 5 waves in this move here, right? And then we've got this move up here, and it's correcting. So, you know, it's sort of like I could view this as wave 1 to the upside and wave 2 here. I could do that. But I can't call this wave 3 here because it's too small. So it would have to be wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here for this, and moving up higher in all of this. Now the thing here is that we can see the volume, how it's been increasing in the trend up, and you see how it's basically been diminishing here. I mean, it's not perfect, and we could look at that. This is a monthly chart, by the way. We could see this basically, you know, this volume here diminishing, isn't it, in its own little way. We could kind of pull it apart and, like a musician, read it for bar, but I just want to point out we've got increasing volume in the trend up, and we've got decreasing volume in the trend down. Now when you've got decreasing volume in the trend down, it means that you know, there's no real sellers in the market. Yes, sure, there's some sellers in the market, and we could see that the second last bar here on the monthly here is higher volume. I got it. We're pushing down here, and we're getting increasing volume here. Do you know what I mean? It's like this pushing up here, and it's on, that pushing up here is on lower volume. So it's going up here for this, and that's increasing volume, and then we get that turn here. So this bar, I mean, if I'm reading the volume really quite good really. So this little bar that pushed up here was on lower volume, so you know that that's corrective. And then we've got this one that's moved down on higher volume than this one here, and then this one here is higher volume than this one here. So we're increasing volume in this particular space. It's like this one moving down with increasing volume, this one moving up here on lower volume here, that type of thing. So we've got a correctional pattern here that could be read in a couple of different ways. We could go an A wave, a B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. That's quite possible to do it that way. It's quite, because it's a wave. If it's a wave 1 to 2, that's what we would be looking at here, and we would be looking at this here in terms of the 61.8% retracement level. So that would come in around 618 here. So 616, this one here, 6, is it that one, the third one up? Yeah, so down around the 220 mark at least. So probably become a bit lower than that. So that's where that could play out as, that would be my first sort of take on this here. If it was a wave 4 correction, then I could look at this ABC here as an A wave, and then a B wave up here, and then 5 waves down, and bring it down a little bit shorter here. I could do that as well. But in the meantime, we'll just keep an eye on the volume. It still needs to come down. It still needs to come down further. So perhaps over the next time we look at this and some other markets, we'll go into the the weekly and the daily count and so on. But in the meantime today, I just wanted to point out that there is further downside to come, and and as China is the buyer for this, we need to have a look at where their pricing is on these. These need to come down further as well. We can have a look at one of them here. So this needs to come down further here as well. So I don't know if we need to look at this as wave A here and B here and then 5 waves down here, or we've got some other bigger pattern happening here as an A and a B and a C wave over here for this monthly chart here. We'll just take it into the weekly chart here and have a bit of a look at it. So I've had it as an A and a B and a C wave here. So if this was the trouble with this ABC pattern here, the problem with it is that the relationship between wave A and wave C here is sort of out of whack a little bit. But at the same time, this particular trend here, which is all part of the same sort of family, it's all connected to each other, we're pretty much at the end of it. Not quite. There will be, this trend's got to finish here, and then there's got to be this, and there's got to be that. It'll be something like that's got to kind of finish off like that. So it's really going to gravitate around that 30 here for a while. So yeah, we can pull this apart and have a look at it. It's not a big deal. But we're at the ending stages of this here, and it will slow down a fair bit. Okay, so that's that. We'll come over to the energy market, and this is ExxonMobil here. And as I mentioned before with this here, is that this particular move here is corrective in nature. And all we need to do now, obviously corrections can double in size. So we could look at this here as an A wave coming down here. We could have the B wave over here on this one here, on this top here, as an A and a B and a C. But once this top has been taken out here, then that's not the case. Then I'll put this back over to here, and we can have this as the ABC pattern here, and we'll be pushing up high here. So ExxonMobil here, I was just listening to Kathy Wood there. Exxon invested quite heavily in putting Bitcoin mines on all their flares. So I think that's interesting. So this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, we know they don't pan out a lot of the time, and we could do this a bit differently. We could have some sort of some sort of wave 1 sort of going up like this, and then this here, and then pushing up. But either way, it is looking quite good, and all it needs to do is take out of this top here, and then I can tell you that this market is bullish. But this is not what this moving up here, this whole move up here, is not something that is in line with crude. So this is the crude market here, and it's possible. I could look at this as an A wave and a B wave and try to get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to here as a C wave and move up. But we'll see. At this current point, we've got it as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, the fourth wave 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here for this. So if we do get 5 waves down here, if that's the case, it looks like it is, then we can look at this being wave 1 or wave A and 2 and B over here. So nothing really to do here at this point in time. And then we come over to the natural gas market, and the natural gas market, I'm using the spot market here, which is a little bit different from the NASDAQ, and with this one here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. With the NASDAQ we didn't push up here so high, we came more like here, so it kind of made this little rally here part of this trend here. But I think this could be the right count really in terms of a wave 4 to this point and then wave 5 down here. So at the moment here with this particular move, we've got this here as an A and a B and a C. It's kind of the best count. So we've got this corrective move to the upside. So there's a couple of things that could happen here. This move down here is looking like 5 waves at the moment. So that means that we could have a rally in 3 waves and then come down here again in all of that. That's quite possible. Or we could end up not coming from these lows here, coming back here, and then pushing up here higher at that point. But we are getting that 5 wave move here. This last little move here, I don't know if this is just wave 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 to finish off down here a little bit further. So that's why it's important not to trade around large numbers when it arrives at large numbers. If it's been there for a while and it's been settling in a support or resistance, and you know we've got our game plan for those sort of things, so we trade to a level, get out. Once it's been here for a while, then we know what it looks like, and then we can move into it again, you know. But we don't want to get involved in it after it's arrived here and it's doing its, you know, it's doing its little rodeo work here. So, you know, this is the full 9 seconds here. So you don't want to be, you know, if you don't know how to ride, well, you don't want to be out in that ring for that, you know. So that's that. I'll leave it all at that. Sorry for such a long video. Cheers.